to load. Okay. It looks like we're live. Now let me pull us up over here on my tablet. So I am Sheila Corona. This is Conscious Conversation Central. And these two lovely beings are my gal pal posse, BZ Rieger and Lisa Flameno Rush. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
So we are back again for part 3. Hopefully we'll be able to get through the rest of it tonight, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll get to this speech on the 4th. This time I didn't put that out there.
Well, let's flow with finishing part 3 and
we'll see where it leads.
From 71 to 92, so just,
Yeah, we got a little ways to go, but we're going to start. Yeah, we're going to start with right where we left off. We only have 2 folks that have joined us so far, but we left off last time with my fellow Americans. It is time to speak up loudly and strongly and powerfully and defend the integrity of our country. And
again, he's speaking to many audiences there.
Yeah, well, I feel as though that was it was an actual personal call to every being on the planet, not just in the United States, to be frank with you.
No, every being on the planet, absolutely. And just for exactly what the black ink on the white paper says, every being on the planet that, and then those who are more awake. So regardless of how much you know what's going on or tuned in or into your own knowing or anything else, and then people who are actively awake, people who, another thing came to mind is people who took the oath, and got sworn in basically and deputized, which is, I would be surprised if it was less than many hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, that's going on the show topics list. The deputizing. I'd love to talk about that some at another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we could do is I'll bet I could find a transcript. It's not going to end well.
I know that was
your warning.
That was the key in this.
Yeah, Rose might be little, but she got some claws, man. I'd be backing up if I was you, Keegan.
She walks softly with big clouds.
That's right. Yeah, what I think I'll look for see if I can get a transcript for General Flynn's speech where he talks about the military's idea and mission to get and employ and deploy an army of digital soldiers.
I would love that. I'd love to have a conversation about
that. So we could
that.
do it, we could have a conversation or a decode or a combination of that, because it's about the oath as well. And
yeah, I'd love to do that.
How that was put forth.
I got that on here, and you just, I know you're real busy, so you just tell me what to look for and I'll find it. We'll do that.
So that would be some of the audiences that he's talking to, and
well,
and on levels too. Remember we talked last night, we talked about, defend the integrity of our country. So our country, our humanity, our conscious collective, our being, each being. So country each is a country unto their own, right? Each has their own sovereignty, each has their own borders of their etheric field and all of those kinds of things. And Dr. Bruce Lipton is, he oft says that you are a community of a billion or something because of all of the cells and all of the mechanisms and all of the co-creation and coherence that goes on in your structure, your body, just on your physiological level, never mind all the other bodies. So you put all those together, and that's quite a civilization.
Yeah, no, I mean, anybody that doubts that, go and take a look at the movie A Bug's Life and talk to me again about, I mean, for me, I view that very much the same way.
Yeah. So it's a big thing, and it wasn't, and it's not, and the other thing is he doesn't say my fellow, in all of his rhetoric, his talks, his speeches, his conversations, he does not use the word my fellow Americans very often at all. In fact, he does it at the beginning of the State of the Union because it's kind of a stock line. It is, when you go there, you say that, right? It's probably in the clause of the Constitution. You have to say that. But just trying to find quickly where he's talking about. Today we have issued the EO. He didn't say it that way, did he? Did he say my fellow Americans?
I didn't see it. No, that doesn't mean that's not there, but. Well, I want to say for me, what I've noticed too, because, it feels to me like more folks are that's an energetic, first of all, and
It is.
More folks are standing in their own sovereignty. And although he is a senator in his own right, I will point to Senator Dr. Scott Jensen, who released a video today.
Yes, very powerful.
And I will say that, wow, I'm so glad that he's standing up and speaking his truth. And just, he's so authentic. I mean, he's a Minnesota senator and a doctor. And so for those who might doubt the claims that doctors are being censored, maybe you might want to take a look at this video that a sitting senator who is also a doctor.
Yes,
is going through.
And not only, an active doctor, but he was the, doctor of the year by the Minnesota Board of Health. The health highest thing in the.
Yeah, so he's recognized, so yeah.
Yeah. So he was good enough for that back then, and all of a sudden now, and of course it's ironic I have to get so it's easier to share on different places and not just Twitter because it's a Twitter thing, but part of his response I love, he says he's got the regulations in front of him, and then he's got the email that tells him to do something differently, and so he's telling them what the email says, which they sent to him, and they're censuring him for giving misleading information, which is quoting their email that they sent to him.
Well, you and I had a little bit of that today on the WHO website, didn't we, BZ?
Yeah.
I went to the WHO website, and it's no wonder everybody's so damn confused about things. Right on their own website, they are contradicting themselves left and right about different stuff. So, it's no wonder people get freaking confused.
Well, they do that by design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they got the echo chamber going on in the mainstream media with a specific narrative. And It's highly effective. I must say, I marvel at the beauty of it.
I don't want us to get too far into this before I address this question that's come up in the chat. Okay. It's not something that we'll do tonight, but Karen Fine says, I'm having a conundrum today. I reread Trump's EO from December 21st, 2017. And if you look at what is going on in the 3D version, Trump is in violation of his own executive order by not doing anything. I don't know, as I would say he's not doing
Oh,
it.
he's not doing anything.
I
Far
I
from it. Yeah, that's
just
a whole, okay, write that down, because that's a whole other conversation. We'll be here forever.
yes, but we will address that, Karen,
Yeah.
because honestly,
No,
that's
I'm trying to think how you get the right negative on negative, but he is absolutely not doing anything. Did I say that
well, I
the right-
understood you. I don't know, but I understood you.
yeah.
There's a whole lot of stuff that's going on that we can't see.
Well,
Oh, there's a
but
whole
we
lot of stuff
can.
you can see that is
I kn-
that
I
supposedly you can see, but boy, you look at it energetically, you look at putting the dots together, you watch the signaling here and there. Yeah.
well, what
well,
he's not doing is broadcasting it with his words.
right.
So here, it's more important what he's, what he's doing than what he's saying, because
Well,
he's
and
actually doing a ton that you can perceive
right.
if you look around.
Well, I would really like for you, Karen Fine, if you wouldn't mind, to send me an email with some specifics to what you're referring to, for one thing. And we'll just kind of go from there
Yeah.
and in a different broadcast, because I would like to have the opportunity to, really go over that. She said she understood the not too. And Kathy Ashby said, I had a powwow with a few friends last night. Consensus was that there is a distortion in reality and in the collective consciousness. I feel like that's the mind virus. At any rate, so I want to thank everyone for showing up. I just announced it only about 30 minutes before giving an approximate time. So, I did tell everybody this morning that we were planning on it. So welcome, and please don't hesitate to put things in the chat and let us know that you're there. Yes, that's my feeling about it, Karen Fine, and that's why I said she said so it's in the dark, not in the light. There are things coming to light that I can see, quite frankly.
I think it's not in a neon sign.
Right.
Maybe this is the last way I said. It's actually not in the dark at all. In fact, it's so not behind the scenes.
It's just not being announced. Let's put it that way.
It's not being spoken.
Well, actually, it is. He almost every day he has at least one tweet or a little thing here, or like he has like a 30-second remark in front of a thing, and it's
I'm actually
fascinating to go, whoa, look at that,
I'm actually glad that Karen brought it up in the way that she did, and here's why. Here's another thing that I see, sense, and feel in regards to that specifically happened during this speech. A lot was made of Melania's dress. Not a lot of folks are aware that dress was actually made by the tracing of artwork from children who were using art therapy in regards to their sexual abuse. And so I personally found it very interesting that from that dress on the 3rd was black scribbles and white. On the 4th, she wore a pure white dress. For me,
clean
that
slate
speaks exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a memo, an executive order. Pull the trigger on the Go app.
That's right. That's showing that, hey, we see you, we know what you've been doing, and the next day.
Well, and also we're clean. It's cleaned.
Yes.
Yes, and yeah. So another conversation, because we could go on that one for a long time.
Yes, because we're already on night 3. I'm just trying to get
so back to 71. What I will say again is the fact that it's the only place in this speech he says that. I do not believe after listening to yesterday, the one on the 4th, he does not say that. He rarely, if ever, says it, except for, like I said, the exception of the State of the Union, and that's because in the State of the Union, I think there's probably some law that says it has to say, my fellow Americans, the State of the Union is strong, and that's why you have that. So this is gives a lot more weight and emphasis. So again, here, and funny how that happens with Karen's question, because right here, number 71, he's telling you things are happening, and he's telling you that you need to take your part now, and he's telling you it's time for you to stand all in. You've been deputized, and get with it, get in the march step, and we've got work to do.
Yeah, I do. For me, I see that too. It's the very statement. It's time to speak up loudly and strongly and powerfully. Yeah, that and defend the integrity of our country. So I'm in full agreement with you there.
Yeah.
So then, the audience starts shouting USA, USA, USA. And then the president begins again. It is time for our politicians to summon the bravery and determination of our American ancestors. It is time. It is time to plant our flag and protect the greatest of this nation for citizens of every race, in every city and every part of this glorious land, for the sake of our honor, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our union. We must protect and preserve our history, our heritage, and our great heroes. And that, even just reading it right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's another, it's a go order. He's, so right there, just to go to the other conversation that we haven't had yet, that we will have. I mean, he's, again, this is many levels, many tenses, but he's, as in past, present, future tense, right?
Right.
He is, he's giving a go order. He's telling you that actually things have been wound up. And in the realm of it's all theater, right? It's time. So there's a clock, and there's a game plan. There's a mission plan. So he's telling you, he's signaling new things on that clock, or have come to fruition, are now starting, are counting down, right? They're in the queue. Pun not intended. And with the theatrics, because you're watching theater. So when he says it's time, so that means in a lot of, and there's a whole host of them that you see out there, in their plea deals, so they don't get, because they have committed, high crimes and treason and all that, part of their plea deal, which does not mean they get off, but they do have directives and scripted given to them, go out there and be the biggest jackass or whiner or conflicted or liar or whatever it is, right? And actually, if you think about the words I just used, you could think of several particular politicians in mind with those.
Yeah.
And sell it like your life depended on it. Oh yeah, hey, it does. Right? So that's their plea. Right. So when he's saying, and he's very clearly, it's time for our politicians to summon the bravery and determination. It is time. So that's also, he's stating what he's stating, but he's also talking to everyone about exactly, he's giving you chapter and verse of what is actually going on and what's being, so because there are a lot of Republicans, it's not a Republican Democratic thing. There's a lot of Republicans who have a lot of plea deals out there that they've got to run through, right? And so part of that is the being silent. So people are now more and more are talking more and more about, well, wait a minute, why are a lot of these Republicans doing nothing? Well, because they need to see that thing. And so it's time to do that. And it's time, maybe this is a time where they choose. Are you going to sing and stand strongly and choose a different direction, as in, choose the light to dark to light, right? Or are you going to choose that you're going to scream against, and that be part of your plea deal?
Well, and just as I was reading that too, I was reminded of Senator Dr. Scott Jensen
Right.
and his video today.
That's right.
It's time for politicians to summon the bravery and determination. I mean, he actually came out early on, and he is now being sanctioned, called on the carpet, so to speak, by some of those,
Right.
places that.
Yeah, way back in end of March, early April.
Right. So I don't know. It just hit me that that's pretty synchronistic.
Right.
That we have this, and
there are a lot of, in the same vein, there are a lot of not just senators and congressmen who are lawyers, and they're stepping forward, but people who are lawyers in other roles all over are saying, if you get, a summons or a ticket or this for a mask or this, that, the other thing, I'll represent you for free. We'll do class action laws. And, we talked about that last night. So.
Yeah, and we are going to get that information together. Put out either, on the IUV and maybe even in a standalone video so that we can have that for everyone. Okay. Was there anything else anyone wanted to add to that one? Nope. Here tonight, before the eyes of our forefathers, Americans declare again, as we did 244 years ago, that we will not be tyrannized, we will not be demeaned, and we will not be intimidated by bad, evil people. It will not happen. And I gotta say, for me, this statement right here, more than any other one that he has done, I knew that he is aware of, the treasonous acts and that have been done, and that is exactly what this presidency has been all about for him, is cleaning that up, draining that swamp. But for me, for some reason, this one also, there's always been that question, is he aware? And I'm if he's not right up here in the front.
Oh, he is, absolutely.
I really feel like even that is like disappearing for me, that he doesn't know. On some level, we all know, right? On some level.
Right.
But I'm saying at this point, it feels to me, my doubt about whether or not he's aware of the multidimensionality of this has with this statement right here, just kind of went out the window for me.
Oh, no doubt in my mind.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, there hasn't been in my mind.
I gotcha.
I told you, since I saw, at first when he, towards the end when he was running, I thought, well, I don't know. And then I found, it's published on the IUV, and a while back I stuck it to the front again, but it's, they were pictures that were found, and because I couldn't quite square all that. And I saw those, and I saw the true energy of him come through, and I thought, okay, well, didn't see that one coming, and yep, that makes perfect sense to me. So go and look up on the IUV. You'll see the pictures that I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say, Karen said she found a small list of those lawyers, and I just asked her in the chat to be sure and email that to me.
Thank you, Ms. Karen.
Yeah, Corey, like I said, Corey Diggs is putting together a whole resource too. She's been reaching out to all of them, and so I think my sense is the way she does things, she'll probably have chapter and verse that this person is in this state or does this, or it can reach out. You can go to them and tell them what state, what's happened, and they can refer you.
Right. Okay. So did you guys have anything else on that?
On this one, for me, I just wanted to say that also I felt a call to embody that knowing for myself. meaning do not be intimidated by what I see right now, and to fiercely, just know that the light has won. And I don't know, it felt to me as a personal call to remember that.
Yeah. And as far as answering your question, kind of giving more weight to answering your question, maybe it's a better way to say it, Sheila, is that when you watch the actual speech, again, this is another one where all the decibels go way up on this. So his voice changes. It's a much stronger. It's much more resolute. He also puts more volume, more projection behind it, and his countenance, his energy, and stands fully in that knowing. Especially when he's talking about before the eyes of our forefathers. So they're right here. We've got some on the mountain, but they're right here, and they're all watching, and we're working in this together. Remember, I was talking in something we did recently about how our souls and coming through, and they were meeting us and just rejoicing in the decisions that we're making. The other thing too is that when he punched it even more at the end, he says, and we will not be intimidated by bad, evil people. It will not happen. So this too, when he says that, it's instead of saying, the plague, and he's talking about that, or he uses it some other times, but it's almost like bad, evil people, right? There's the teleprompter or the credits on the screen is rolling the list of the bad, evil. I mean, that when he says that, it's with specificity and particularity, and like the screen is rolling with all of the long list of there. So it isn't just a euphemism. It's not just a catch-all phrase. He's looking at, they know the people who he's looking at know that they're running on the teleprompter.
Well, like I said, for me, the fact that he used the word tyrannize too is very it's very specific word, and tells me that he damn sure knows what's going on, what the game plan was.
Right.
Let us put it that way. So then we have the audience, USA, USA, USA again, and he begins again. We will proclaim the ideals of the Declaration of Independence, and we will never surrender the spirit and the courage and the cause of July 4th, 1776. Either one of you have anything on that one?
No, the only thing that I would say is that, again, he, what seems to be slipping in a little bit to his telegraphing is that more fierceness, and also he's also, because getting in that balance of the light has won, that Lisa spoke about earlier, he's not wanting to telegraph it too much, but you can see this is one of the ones where it ekes through the combination of that fierceness, and boy, are we going to celebrate. Boy, are we, gonna, that pent up demand and all, those are all, he's telegraphing. He's not just about the economy or buying crap or whatever, because you've been locked in a basement and you can't buy anything, right? But it's more than that, and that's what so that's starting to eke out that and he did that with the tone, and then he had the speech on the 4th.
Well, for me, the thing that I felt come straight through there again was he was in fact reiterating and tying it to the one before in regards to being tyrannized, because make no mistake, that was what July 4th, 1776 was
right.
all about.
Right.
Was breaking away from tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
So in effect, that is, and he's very clear that that's what, I mean, there's for me, he's saying it without coming right out and saying it, that there has been this plan all along, and that, for me, again, there will be those who, for whatever the reason, don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear and won't make that connection. But personally, I don't see how that's even possible at this point. But
well, and too, the whole the paradigm report and everything else was put together by the One People's Public Trust, 1776. So
right,
it's an important date.
Yes,
much foreshadowing.
Right. Was there anything for you in that one, Lisa?
Not that it hasn't been covered.
Okay. Upon this ground, we will stand firm and unwavering in the face of lies meant to divide us, very important, demoralize us, and diminish us. We will show that the story of America unites us, inspires us, includes us all, and makes everyone free. And there's so much in that.
Huge.
Paragraph.
Just huge.
It is, because
delicious.
Yeah, isn't it? It's funny because I watched the speech live and I thought, oh, this is pretty good. And he's giving so much information and, telegraphing so much and actually giving, to Karen's point, speaking chapter and verse about what has been going on, what's going on. Yep, we did that. Yep, that's about to happen. Okay, they're about to, ticking them off. And then as you're reading that now, I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, you could have many of these paragraphs, and we're only on 77, right? You could, if he just had that was the only paragraph. Very, very resolute, very fierce, very determined, and absolutely standing in the knowing that the light has won. And now we're just bringing it home.
right.
Yeah. Choosing your path. What happens to this is how I hold it. The only thing that's about to unfold that I don't know yet is what happens to me. where how do I participate? And so, I want to keep that forefront in my mind,
right,
that I am participating in the transformation of all that is.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I want to do that?
Beautifully said, Lisa. That's so important. So important.
Well, it actually, for me, what you just said speaks back to the other one where he tells everybody it's time to stand up.
Right.
And speak out loudly.
Yeah.
And, demanding that. So for me, you just tied it back there again too. But in the face of lies meant to divide us, demoralize us. Now for me, I'm sorry, for everybody who likes to wear their mask.
So, what are you doing counting these videos? How many times she says the word mask?
I'm sorry, but look, that right there is a specific thing.
Well, and it's also demeaning. I mean, think about any, that you have a thought in your head that you can rub two thoughts together and go, okay, they just contradict themselves, or that doesn't make any sense, or we've talked about, or you've actually mostly talked about a little bit here and there, stuff that I've given examples I do at work. It's demeaning because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's for me. Like I said, there's that one sentence, even in the face of lies meant to divide us, demoralize us, and diminish us. Just in that portion of that sentence, that I see the mask situation. I see all of the BS that's being done with all the different kinds of, oh, woe is me, the protesting BS that goes on. Western just said, oh, a new drinking game. Yes, how many times Sheila talked about mass? Okay. Oh boy, it's going to be fun when we get to see Western for the first time. I can't hardly wait. That's going to be a hoot, man. All of those comedians in one room. Oh,
I know, right?
gee.
I'll meet depends.
I know, right? So, and then he goes on to say, we will show that the story of America unites us, inspires us, includes us all. And for me, he's speaking specifically to compassion here.
Yes.
He's speaking specifically to that, and makes everyone free.
Right. So everyone free in that nobody, not one left out, has been free. And that inspiration, that uniting, that unification of, that expansion of, that open-heartedness of, that love absolute is for every single one, no one left out.
You know, I'm glad you said it in that way right there, because that is, you're right, to me, that is a huge indicator that he is aware of all of that has been going on in regards to the whole thing off planet as well.
Yes.
And the fact that, you know, this is one gigantic open air prison, or it has been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had dreams about that. So
Yeah, so have I. We're free range slaves.
Yeah.
We can have fresh air occasionally, as long as we're wearing a mask.
Right.
Yeah, it's freedom light. It's the appearance of freedom, but not really. Oh my God, that's just too hysterical. Okay, my tablet has flipped out again. So was there anything else that you guys had on that?
No, we're really motoring through these.
I know, right?
We're 78 and we have 92 to go.
Okay, so moving right along. We must demand that our children are taught once again to see America, as did Reverend Martin Luther King, when he said that the founders had signed a promissory note to every future generation. Dr. King saw that the mission of justice required us to fully embrace our founding ideals. Those ideals are so important to us, the founding ideals. He called on his fellow citizens not to rip down their heritage, but to live up to their heritage. I'm sorry, I had to laugh because that sentence right there made me think of the presser today with Kayleigh McEnany. I'm telling you, these reporters, oh Jesus Christ, I don't know how they live with themselves. I really don't. At any rate, what do y'all have on that?
Well, for me, it's again, he's talking multidimensionally. He's talking not only about well, in this he's bringing forth what Dr. King said, but he's saying it now because they weren't words that were once, you know, gone, done and done, and you can go look them up someplace and you read them. It's a living frequency construct that we can actually step back into. In fact, we've been prevented from stepping into it and embodying it, and now we must claim it and own it and know it, that is part of a huge parcel of that landscape, frequency landscape, that we must step in. It's so again, that goes back to, you know, the light has won and it's moving forward, but we've got to step into it.
Yeah, that's what I got too. It's just time to embody the principles that, you know, we all love and adore, because now is the time. If we don't, they're gone forever.
Right. Well, Kevin Westring said the answer in short is not on my watch.
There you go.
I'm telling you, I love that. I loved that when that happened. So, above all, our children from every community must be taught that to be American is to inherit the spirit of the most adventurous and confident people ever to walk the face of the earth. That felt like a call to standing all into yourself too. It's not just
Well,
because make no mistake, what we're doing here is huge on every sort of level, not just the 3D linear.
No, and what for me, that absolutely was a call to embody and to stand all in the fact that it's standing room only. That there's many of them all are, but this one is absolutely a multi-dimensional paragraph, and he's talking about, look, it was standing room only to get here. Y'all knew exactly what you were coming for. Everybody had waiting tickets in case, you decided to bail out or whatever. And let's do this, man. Because it's not only, it's not just the 4-year elections, not just this, it is the shift and the decision, the creation of winding this down and whole new thing for all of Source's multiverse.
Yep.
Lest you forget that, wake up.
Okay, Lisa, anything?
Nope, that was good.
Okay. Americans are the people who pursued our manifest destiny across the ocean, into uncharted wilderness, over the tallest mountains and into the skies, and even into the stars. For me, that's more carryover from the previous paragraph. To be honest, it's more of that multi-dimensional feel for me.
Yes, and it's almost like it was intentionally written in reverse. So he's also laying out your history, your the real kind of timeline of, right, you're from the stars and you came here and adventures this the most common people ever to walk the face of the earth, because yes, but the beings that came in now for this exact moment knew it was going to be hard. They didn't care. We didn't care. You didn't. Each of you didn't care. He said, "Let me in. I'm ready."
Well, I know that manifest destiny, that's a very specific term. And in the written speech from the White House website, they have capitalized both manifest and destiny.
Yes.
And for me, also, when I think into and feel into those two words, when I think of, like we said, standing all in, my energy poured into this physical vessel, it's my manifest destiny, right? And the fact, like I said, that it's capitalized like that, again, kind of speaks to me anyway, of him knowing exactly what.
Yes.
Here. Okay, so we are the country of Andrew Jackson, and this is the second time he's brought Andrew Jackson to the forefront. And for me, again, I'll just speak it, Andrew Jackson is the one that kicked the central banks out of the United States to begin with.
Right.
And so that, for me, feels pretty big. I do not have anything on Ulysses S. Grant, because he goes on here, we are the country of Andrew Jackson, Ulysses S. Grant, and Frederick Douglass. For some reason, I'm feeling that those three names grouped together like that are important. I'm not exactly sure why, but I know what's up with Andrew Jackson. The other two, not real clear. We are the land of Wild Bill Hickok and Buffalo Bill Cody. We are the nation that gave rise to the Wright brothers, the Tuskegee Airmen, Harriet Tubman, Clara Barton, Jesse Owens, and George Patton, General George Patton. I remember how he said that twice like that, with such reverence.
Yeah, and there's another place. Maybe it was on the 4th. He kind of waxes a little bit. Obviously the speech is written, but he without adding any more words in what's written in the text, he's putting more. There's more there. There's much more story than just the words.
Right. And I may be mixing up
Patton.
I may be mixing up my my conspiracy theories here, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Patton is the one that was killed in a car accident or something, wasn't he? After the war?
He didn't die from in the conflict.
No, he did not. And it was, and that's what I'm saying. If I'm not mistaken, which I could be, I'm just going to put that out there right now. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. It just came in for me that if I'm not mistaken, there's something about Patton and what happened with him when he came back after World War II, that there have been those who have said that his death was to keep him from saying stuff.
I bet.
And so I find that very interesting that he, like you said, is kind of waxing lyrical about General Patton. So I have a feeling there's way more to that than we are aware of. He goes on to say the great Louis Armstrong, Alan Shepard, Elvis Presley, and Muhammad Ali. And only America could have produced them all. No other place. There's lots of rumors about Presley too, that he was involved in some stuff with law enforcement.
Well, the other thing again, the very last 2 sentences, because there was a period. So the very last 2 sentences, but particularly the last one, he's speaking to the energetics of America, the actual geographic frequency coordinates that it holds on the planet and the space of that, and then multidimensionality in that. When he says, and only America could have produced them all, no other place. So not only no other place on the globe, but no other place. So the frequencies needed to be just so, with the combination of the magic that brought that's it's kind of like the alicorn or various other mystical things, right? It's the same kind of a thing.
Right.
I have a little something I want to throw in there.
Yes.
So for me, I'm going to go back up to 80 for a second about manifest destiny and going into the stars, because it's going to tie in with what I want to say about 81. Okay. I felt here a reference to going off the script, if you will, and creating and now for something totally different. And that got stronger when he started listing these people, because I too don't know a whole lot about these folks. But I know Frederick Douglass was an absolute
abolitionist.
Thank you. And the other people, I'm thinking Harriet Tubman and even Louis Armstrong, Elvis Presley, Muhammad Ali. Like for me, what highlighted was, I remember some controversial things. Like these were people who were pushing the normal boundaries of what was generally accepted by society.
Right.
And so again, that speaks to the going off the script and being brave and being bold and being very holding true to your own authenticity and your own truth, regardless of what the societal norms were. I mean, just to push against that and write a new script and write your own script. And I feel like this is a reference to where we are again. We are all called all of us to step into that energetic. And I feel like the United States, and now thank you, you've explained why, has been really a melting pot. It was a magnet of people that felt they wanted to write their own script and they wanted to be free to define reality for themselves. We're magnetically attracted together to allow that to happen. And I feel like that's what this country was founded on. I think the forefathers were saying, this is where we're going now. This is what happens next.
Right.
And I feel like right now is that pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Where it actually happens next. Not
Right.
200 or 400 years.
Yeah, and exactly what you put out there, you know, that each of the what those all had in common, right, was pushing that envelope, but pushing it not for the sake of pushing it, but pushing it because it was burgeoning forth from within them. They could not do anything else but that. It was that inspiration. It was that breath of creation that needed to come out in the ways that it did. And they were all, their manifest destiny in that came out in very large ways with very lasting ramifications for themselves and for,
well, they changed everything.
right, the whole planet. So what, again, that's speaking to, again, from changing tenses, right? So look at this. I'm showing you this. This is the metaphor. This is the picture I'm painting. And go back to 71. It's time to stand and do this loudly, right? So, and what he's been talking about too is the pent-up demand. The pent-up demand is that you're a creative being and you finally get to do it consciously.
You know what just came in for me? Thank you, Lisa, so much for pointing that out. Every single one of these names were people who stood against, we've got the Jackson with the banking. You've got Douglas as an abolitionist, which I did not know. The Wright brothers, they were laughed at and ridiculed
Right.
for their ideas about, aviation. Patton, according to what I'm reading in the chat here, Kevin says he was assassinated. Someone else said broke his neck in a car accident in 1945. Harriet Tubman, these are folks who stood out and said, not on my watch.
Yes.
Right.
Honestly, that's what I just got about that.
Yeah.
Oh, how awesome. Thank you for pointing that out, Lisa.
Yeah, and not only did they stand out not on my watch, but they did it in the creatorship in which they did it in how they, that was their slogan, that was their rhythm, that was their, right? So think of Louis Armstrong or any of those things.
Right.
They did it with a certain panache that came from within them.
Right.
Well, they never let anything hold them down either.
Right.
Yes.
Right. None of them. Not a one of them.
They sure as hell didn't metaphorically and actually wear goddamn masks because right, there you go, Sheila, I said it for you. Right?
Kevin, have a drink. There you go. All right. You're right. I don't think any of those people would have done any of that silly ass shit. Okay, well, anyway, I digressed. So we are the culture that put up the Hoover Dam, laid down the highways, and sculpted the skyline of Manhattan. We are the people who dreamed of a spectacular dream. It was called Las Vegas in the Nevada desert, who built up Miami from the Florida marsh, and who carved our heroes into the face of Mount Rushmore. Yeah, all the same energetic as what you pointed out from the one before, Lisa.
Yeah.
Americans harnessed electricity, split the atom, and gave the world the telephone and the internet. We settled the Wild West, won 2 world wars, landed American astronauts on the moon, and one day, very soon, we will plant our flag on Mars.
Well, I couldn't help but think of Kennedy right there. Because I remember when, Kennedy said, we're going to the moon. And it was like, what? That's even possible?
Right.
I love that.
I actually chuckled at the last part. I said, well, officially we'll plant our flag there.
Right. We were already on the moon anyway. So if, I feel like Kennedy was in the same position. He was ready to do what Trump is now boldly doing. Yeah. But he was stopped, right, in his tracks.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of similarities between those two, if you ask me, especially since, they're going up against this, that big behemoth.
The same machine, yeah.
And we gave the world the poetry of Walt Whitman, the stories of Mark Twain, the songs of Irving Berlin, the voice of Ella Fitzgerald, the style of Frank Sinatra, the comedy of Bob Hope, the power of the Saturn V rocket, the toughness of the Ford F-150, and the awesome might of the American aircraft carriers. Yeah, see, all of that is exactly still the same energetic as the ones before.
And it all ties, all of those tie into, that's more of the punch, more of the bringing up of the decibels of 71.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely.
And he's calling attention to the things that start here, go global.
Right. That's right.
So I thought of that too.
Yes, and he's saying too, if you didn't hear me the first time I said it, well, see, you can. There's a precedent for it. You have inspiration. You can see, what that manifest destiny looks like and how you move forward. And remember. He's asking everyone to remember the truth of who you are.
I agree. Americans must never lose sight of this miraculous story. Honestly, come on. You can't see that? I can. The miraculous story of what BZ just said, the truth of who you are.
Right.
I mean, yes, it's the birth of America, but it's also...
No, it's way...
Yeah, exactly right. I'm sorry, but civilization's come and go. So as far as I'm concerned, the miraculous story is the big, above the fold.
The greatest story never told.
Right. And poo-pooed as woo-woo.
Right.
Yeah.
So he punches that in the next sentence.
He sure does.
If you're still trying to figure out that or which story it was, no, not that story, this story.
Yeah, you should never lose sight of it because nobody has ever done it like we have done it.
And what are we doing? What are we doing? What's happening right this moment? What's happening right this moment?
No, that's
it's not happened before. It's never been done before. Yep. In all of Source's multiverses, it's never been done before.
Yep, I agree. So today, under the authority vested in me as President of the United States, I am announcing the creation of a new monument to the giants of our past. I'm signing an executive order to establish the National Garden of American Heroes, a vast outdoor park that will feature the statues of the greatest Americans to ever live.
So it hit me when he said it live, and then it's hit me a couple of times, but now it really does. I'm announcing the creation of a new monument to the giants of our past. So this will also have things that illustrate the true past, the true, real history, and all of it, how it unfolded. And just like you could look at a particular monument or something and say, oh, well, they did bad stuff or this, that, and the other thing. Yes, but it's essential to have that come to in a materialized way so that you can see it, so that you can look at it as a touchstone of how far you've traveled, how far you've integrated, how the amazing expansion that you went in your journey, in the story of going forth to know source. They're not just going to be from 1776 forward. I'm sorry, and they're not going to be just locals. They're going to be non-locals in that statue garden.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he said something after this. I can't recall what it was that I was looking at, but he was referring to this garden, and he was mentioning a bunch of names, and then he said that there would be a committee formed, and they would take nominations from everybody, because he wanted everybody to be included in the choosing of the folks that we feature. And immediately I got so excited, because I thought about some of the players now that are really doing some pretty spectacular things to bring it out to the public awareness, that are maybe unsung heroes, and I thought, oh, I got my juices flowing, right? Creative juices, like who could we mention? Who could we?
Right.
And for once, I felt excited about something the government is doing, because I felt as though my input would be genuinely welcomed and appreciated and heard and honored. And that just felt like a whole new playground for me. That felt really exciting. I haven't felt really excited about anything the government's been doing for a very, very, very long.
I can't imagine why.
I have to say, that's doing different.
Slacker. Well, I would love to put the challenge out there to everybody who's listening live now and who comes into the live energetic envelope in the moment that they do, to play with that idea. Who would you what comes to mind? Who do you want to give voice to put that forward? Is it in any of the quote unquote timeline? Is it between here and 1776 and before that, or in every focus as heroes to the great story? Because that's what he's talking about, the miraculous story. So what is it that you have come forth, that inspiration that Lisa was talking about? You may have a dream, you may think you're having a dream, and you may go, right? So that's something to play with. Just kind of how would you may go be traveling.
That's really good, because Lori Wheeler actually said, a garden like the story of creation, maybe, because that's really kind of what the two of you are referring to, isn't it?
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a garden is the other thing that comes to mind. Is it's the garden of the living library, which is Gaia.
Yeah.
Well, I did find that the word garden was an interesting choice. To have that,
right?
So monument park. There's all kinds of other things you could call something like that, right? But garden, that was a very interesting choice of word. So I got a feeling maybe
It's called, and that's its title.
No, I know.
That's just the description, yeah.
No, exactly. So from this night and from this magnificent place, let us go forward, united in our purpose and our dedicated and rededicated in our resolve. We will raise the next generation of American patriots. We will write the next thrilling chapter of the American adventure, and we will teach our children to know that they live in a land of legends, that nothing can stop them and that no one can hold them down. They will know that in America, you can do anything. You can be anything, and together we can achieve anything. You know, that really has been sorely lacking, I think,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I have to tell you, that paragraph right there, he's talking about above the fold. He's talking about,
No, I know, right?
it's you're standing on the field of all possibilities.
Well, that's why I said it's been sadly lacking in all sorts of ways, right? So do we want to move on? Was there anything else you guys wanted on that one? No, okay. Uplifted by the Titans of Mount Rushmore. There's something about that word, Titans.
Yes.
Because, well, it's an energetic. It's also in the field. There's a new show out, supposedly. I saw this advertised on YouTube. The Rock, I guess, is hosting something called Titans. This is a very American ninja, competition, strength and stamina and all that. And so to have it here, I'm feeling this is yet again another energetic that's presenting itself. And so, I mean, there was something about that for me. Uplifted by the Titans of Mount Rushmore, we will find unity that no one expected. We will make strides that no one thought possible. This country will be everything that our citizens have hoped for so many years, and that our enemies fear, because we will never forget that American freedom exists for American greatness. And that's what we have, American greatness. And
so again, he's talking to more than just America. He's talking, he uses that because, American press and all that kind of, but he uses that because that's the nexus point. That's where all of these node points are converging on what is unfolding, that all of you coming into you. And he's speaking directly, far more than Mount Rushmore. He's speaking several audiences, but he's speaking directly to the powers that were. He's talking, the game is up, and you never thought that it was, no one expected we'd make this, and not in a negative way. He's also talking about the company of heaven and all of your souls and everything else. Not that they figured, oh, well, they'll never get that right, but the strides that we've each made and we've talked about this a lot in various different videos, in moving the expansion forward is far surpassed. So things aren't ever set in stone. That's why it's event driven, not time driven, all that kind of stuff. But there was kind of a thought process of how we would take this forward, and the new shift that's an expansion shift, that keeps going for all over. It's not just this blue planet, right? And so people would say, well, why is it taking so long, or what's going on? Because or nothing changes, and not just about the political thing, but in general about ascension and waking up, and when am I going to remember, and all that kind of stuff. And part of that is because we have decided as a collective of humanity to keep moving it forward. And it has, because we've talked about this too, that the shirt here is the pinpoint. It's the pinpoint of all that is you and Lisa and myself and all the others, right? This is one part of the totality of who I, as the being that here in this realm is called BZ, right? And so we kept if there was a target line, if there was a goalpost, if there was this would be the best thing ever, most unimaginable, right? Goalpost to make. We've been shattering it for the last 4 or 5 years at least. And that's what he's referring to here. Not only that the deep state, so to say, and all the rest never thought that we'd pull it off, but that all those who were us, are us, and had our backs thought what we were already doing, so when we said, put me in, let's go, let's do this, was pretty ambitious, and we've blown that all out.
Well, for me, I really do feel like he was speaking specifically to the powers that were, because they really didn't think that, and quite frankly, there's a crap ton of us too, as far as I'm concerned, that still we're wandering around, I'll point to me, acting like, we got no clue about what we're supposed to do, that sort of stuff. And yet there's a lot that's being done. Just because like I said, for what I refer to on the upfront, little bitty conscious of me that's in the front and knows my name is Sheila, and that's about it. But that other part that's back here has been, hard at work. And I feel like that's the thing, that's the unity that they didn't expect. Because, when you look out there at some of the boobs that are still wandering around with the mask on their face, sorry, I know, drink, Kevin. We
should have some CCC shot glasses, and if you waters, but I'd be shooting, but but it's okay.
To each their own. Hey, I'll take a shot every time, and so hey, but yeah, no, I feel like and that is what they fear. I mean, everybody on the planet has seen that meme with the Monopoly board on the backs of the people and all the big bankers sitting around it playing, and all they fear us standing up. This is exactly what he's referring to right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Looks like we got a lot in here. So Lavender Dreams was saying that she saw today that a very large record number of teachers are walking away from their jobs. Not surprised at that. Lori Wheeler shares that Titan in Greek mythology, any of the children of Uranus or heaven, and Gaia, earth, and their descendants. According to Hesiod's theogony, there were 12 original Titans. Now, hold up. Well, we'll have to do that another day. I find that interesting. Everything I feel about 12, and then the 13th, being self. So she goes on to share much more of that. I'll be reading all of that, my darling, because that's very interesting to me.
Oh, I don't know if I have to catch up with the ones we've done, but I actually didn't see it for the other ones with the show, the 3 that we did around the solstice.
Right.
I went and I grabbed the chat and I made it a PDF, and I updated the posts on the IUV with those.
Oh.
Because there was some interesting information from what was coming through for people.
Right. I love that. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that.
One thing I wanted to say here, I did see something. This is about the schools and teachers. I did see something about the amount of parents taking their children into homeschooling, that the school system was overwhelmed by requests. So that's happening on both sides. I didn't understand that the teachers were also, but it seems like everybody's checking out of the old.
Well, yeah, because their children are not quite so zombified, and it's kind of cool.
Well, not only that, but now I this is my suspicion. Nothing I've seen. It's a feeling that I have. Okay. A lot of those parents don't want their children wearing masks, number one. Also, I have the sneaking suspicion a lot of them don't want their children to be vaccinated. me. Just killing me.
Well, and speaking of vaccinations, apparently there's the infant morbidity rate is much better in this 6-month period of time than it has been like in for years and years and years. And I attribute that.
Yeah, because they're
the
not
amount of
shooting them in
people-
the ass as soon as they come in the planet.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people now are just deciding, oh, they'll wait, and they're putting them off,
Right.
which is kind of nice too, that we're starting to see from the staying at home how much better we all are when we don't engage in some
Don't
of
go to
these-
the hospital for anything? Yeah.
Right. Well, it's true.
Yeah. Okay, so centuries from now, our legacy will be the cities we built, the champions we forged, the good we did, and the monuments we created to inspire us all. Anything on that, ladies?
Nope, just more of where we were.
Okay. My fellow citizens, America's destiny is in our sights. That's more of that putting us on notice that we're almost there, guys.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Right.
For me, anyway, America's heroes are embedded in our hearts. America's
okay, hang on. So did you catch that?
Yes.
So he's also telling you that you're the hero of this story, that you are essential, and when your heart is open, it's embedded. So you are coming in, right? In, down into, and that's how it's in our sights, because when you come into you have eyes to see and ears to hear, and it can be in your sights because now you got vision. If you're trying to shoot a gun, you can't lock something, lock on target and get it in the sights if you can't see it.
No.
Right.
You can't, right? Have the vision to see it.
Mhm.
Yep. America's future is in our hands. And ladies and gentlemen, the best is yet to come. And then, of course, there's, chanting USA, USA, USA. This has been a great honor for the First Lady and myself to be with you. I love your state. I love this country. I'd like to wish everybody a very happy 4th of July to all. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much. The end.
The only thing I would add again is if you actually watched it, he said it, with the First Lady and myself are pleased to be with you, honored to be with you. I love your state, but I love this country. That it was very poignant there. I mean, he couldn't have been more genuine and more heart open when he said that. Just the look on his whole being, not just his face when he said it.
No, I agree. Well, that concludes this decode. Unless either one of you have anything you would like to add, as I know this has been well, didn't when we did the last one, it actually took 3 or 4.
No, the 9-minute speech, 10-minute speech. No, I think that was like 7.
So we actually did pretty well. All things considered.
That's funny.
Well,
he just says it doesn't matter the amount of paragraphs, it's the stuff that's in there that's hidden in plain sight. It goes back to Karen's question, and we'll have that conversation, but nothing's happening, you can't see it, or it's in the dark. It's actually very transparent and right there, and that's part of the decoding process. That's part of for each being, and being able to bring your sensory array on board to catch the telemetry, because that's what it is, and then you can bring it forth. But that's another conversation.
Right. Well, I want to because we did this the first night, because for me, none of None of what is gone, goes on is random, right? At least for me, that's the way I feel about it. And
Absolutely not. No.
yeah. So hold on one second. I want to pull it up because, again, I happen to notice, because I pay attention, the song that he walked off the stage with his wife to, and it was Neil Young's "Rocking in the Free World."
Right.
And for me, the words, I'm gonna share them with everybody here. I know I did this on the first during part 1, but I'm gonna do it since we're ending here. There's colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet. People sleeping in their shoes. Sorry. Get ready to grab your drinks, ladies, because I feel like that's for mask wearers. Anyway. But there's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Don't feel like Satan, but I am to them. So I try to forget it any way I can. And then 4 times, keep rocking in the free world. Nope, sorry. Yeah, 4 times. I see a woman in the night with a baby in her hand under an old street light near a garbage can. Now she puts the kid away and she's gone to get a hit. She hates her life and what she's done to it. There's one more kid that will never go to school, never get to fall in love, never get to be cool. And then the refrain again. We got 1,000 points of light for the homeless man. We got a kinder, gentler machine gun hand. We got department stores and toilet paper. Got styrofoam boxes for the ozone layer. Got a man of the people, says keep hope alive. Got fuel to burn. Got roads to drive. For me, there was a awful lot in that right there, as far as I'm concerned, that spoke to everything that he talked about in his speech.
And who was the president who had the refrain of "Keep Hope Alive"?
If I'm not mistaken, it was Obama, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, that's what I'm.
Change.
That's why yes, but that's why I'm saying it in such a question, because this song was written when?
Oh, this song was written in 1989.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
where in the
toilet
trajectory
paper. I'm sorry, but that
Right.
felt.
I know, right?
But so the toilet paper, but where in the trajectory of his walk from the CIA farm to all of a sudden, flashing on the screen as a senator from Ohio, right?
Right.
So
That's
but the timeline. So this song was written before that. That's interesting that he knows when he's writing. I mean, someone can go look it up in the chat room, but he's writing these lyrics before the guy blasts onto the scene, and that's his signature thing. How's that possible?
Well,
because it's a stock line that's given in his script for his role, people.
No, that's true.
So same thing about everything's being telegraphed. Everything is being shown. It's right there. Right? Do I have the dates wrong with that?
No, I think you're absolutely smack on with that as far as I'm concerned. Because when I heard the song, I was like, geez Louise, man. I recognized sorry, but that 1,000 points of light reference is in the speech that HW gave when he talks about a new world order.
Yes.
So,
and there's a couple things in those lyrics that say they're reference points, just like that's why I'm listening going, okay, maybe my, like calendar date, the way it goes is messed up, but how does that phrase doesn't come onto the thing until decades after the song is written.
Well, we all know the reason for that. I mean,
I know that, but just, that there's in the whole land of coincidence sort of thing. Fascinating, isn't it?
No, it really is. And quite frankly, the song also, in my mind, actually spoke again to what Karen brought up in the beginning. When you couple the fact that Melania wore that dress specifically for July 3rd, and that song was played at the end, you have a woman who's doing something with a baby that won't live through it because she's on drugs, because whatever and what all.
No, she
No, I'm
used
saying
the spelling of what was done to the baby to pay her next score and threw the dead baby away is what
right. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly. This is exactly what I'm alluding to here. And so for those who might say, oh, well, you're making a jump there. Okay, well,
not a very big jump.
I mean, I don't know how much coincidence one has to witness before you start kind of putting some puzzle pieces together for yourself. But okay, whatever. All right. So are we ending this here and saying good night, Gracie? And then we're going to do this one another time? What are we doing?
That's what I'm doing.
All right. Well,
Lisa may concur with me on that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's what Lisa and I are doing.
Well, unless everybody wants to stay and play how many times Sheila's going to say the word mass.
Well, since that speech is all about COVID, or a lot of COVID in that, you better get a lot of shot glasses and some the cameras to fill them with.
Yeah, belly up, folks. This is where. No, I'm kidding. All right. Well, I guess this will not be a 3-hour. I know. At any rate, so if you are watching this on BZ's channel later, please do come over and give some love over here to Conscious Conversation Central and subscribe. And for those of you who are watching live or watching this later on Conscious Conversation Central, there's always a link to BZ's YouTube channel in the Show More section. Please do go over there and subscribe as well, because we both do videos that don't end up on each other's channels, and you don't want to miss out on that. And BZ shared with us that if you hit the notification bell twice, according to Sebastian Gorka, this will work for the issue for unsubscribing you. It's apparently...
Now, when I did it, then it said all, or it gave you a choice, and I chose all. So when I did it twice.
Okay.
See, and it never does.
And tried it.
It never does that when you do it once. You just say, you click the bell and you think, hey, I'm good. I clicked the bell.
Yeah.
So when you hit it twice, it does what now, Lisa?
It's actually opens a window that gives you a choice of what you want to be known. I forget what the 3 choices are, but the top one was all. So then I hit all because I want to know every time something comes up.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
What she just told you is that's when the button works. When you just click it once, the button doesn't do nothing.
Well,
like when you're supposed to double click on a mouse on a program to get someone says click the mouse and you do it. No, you have to double click, because otherwise the program won't open, because the open sesame is double click.
That's why I went like this 2 times.
Yes.
Okay, well, all right. Well, to bypass the stupidity of Google YouTube, please double click the bell so you can choose what sort of notifications you want. And by the way, don't
both. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, don't be like me. Make sure that your device is set to allow notifications as well. Otherwise, you will still not be notified.
Right.
Because that's what I did. So don't be me.
Right.
I guess that was it.
Well, the other thing is, if you do like it, go ahead and like it, because
Ah,
that's one of the things now, the way they skew and slant the
right.
algorithms, that will help a lot. Although they play with the numbers, like I said, I can have 3 different tabs open at the same time in different parts within my channel, and I can watch them monkey with the same video real time.
Yeah.
Well, I think leaving comments also helps.
Yes.
So, thank you for those of you that do. Appreciate it.
Yes. Well, I adore getting comments from our viewers, and I
Yes.
read every comment, and I will respond, and I respond to every email. So I want to say here again that if you want to come in and either experience a reading with me or participate in a conscious conversation, reach out, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. The way to reach each one of us is always in the show more section of every video. Whenever I do these live, it might take me a minute to go and add all of that stuff afterwards, but it will be in there eventually. And any video that the 3 of us appear in has a way for you to contact each one of us. And I want to say again that Lisa has written some essays as long as 2 years ago in her Heart Song Musings blog that apply right now. And I'll say that the mind virus is the biggest one that I would recommend everyone to go and read.
Well, all of them. It's their short essays, and there's like 5 of them. So I think it's not going to take very long.
But they are. I really do feel like, Lisa, that you got that urge and that nudge to write
Yeah,
those,
it's
but they
precog.
really apply to now.
Yes, I feel that in every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you can find that in the show more section too. And I know, like I said, I know BZ does other videos besides, just with us.
The other thing came to mind when you were talking about, get in touch via email and all that kind of stuff. We had talked about when we did on the solstice, the middle of I think it was a Sunday. We did the one with the singing bowls, and people had talked about, so we were going to do that one possibly if people were interested in it, where a couple people wanted to come forward to play, and we did one for them.
Yeah, I haven't received any emails about that. Have you?
No.
No. Okay, so if you're in, I'm going to link that video in the show more section. If you haven't seen that, because I know Lori Wheeler had quite an experience with that, and it was Lori actually who had mentioned that she would like to get.
I'm working on it.
Told you, Lori, I would tell her.
I'm working on it, Lori.
Well, I will say this too, that BZ, if you find it difficult to house it in the way that we talked about, if you will email me the MP3, if anyone wants it, I'm happy to send it out as an attachment to an email.
Sure. Well, like I said, I'm going to look at a couple ways because I'd like to do more of that as well. So, but barring that, I'll do that.
Okay, well, Curious Looking Inside would like to read Lisa's Mind Virus blog. And like I said, in the show more section of this video, as soon as we're finished here, I will be going and adding that link to, she has 2 blogs. It's Heart Song Musings. It's that blog that you'll find those on.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's kind of, the site is, I'm not good with the technology. And the site is kind of weird. So you have to start at the very bottom to get the first one, and they build upon each other. So just the way they came out. So anyway.
To get the precog, you got to go to the pre one at the bottom to.
Yeah,
sorry. All the way up. Yeah.
I didn't know how to put them in a different order, and so.
Well, I want to correct something. I did misspeak. Jennifer Brown actually did say, she emailed immediately and said she wanted to be included in that singing bowls thing.
Well, there you go. You never told me that, Jennifer.
Well,
you need to ring her bell, Jennifer.
I'm sorry, Jennifer. Yeah. Okay. So if I don't say something or do something, I don't get my knickers in a twist if you tell me again. Because you know, I forget stuff. You know. So, all right. I think if BZ records anything, it plays, it will have an effect on people. Oh, I think you're right about that. Did
What?
you hear
Say that again?
Lori said, I think if BZ records anything she plays with your singing bowls, it will have an effect on people. So
Okay.
interesting. Awesome.
Well, that
Jennifer
just set
Brown
up
said
the
she
whole
thinks so, too.
playing fireball of imagination. There you go. Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah. So I love it when you guys hit us up with ideas of, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said,
'Cause
emails.
we'll play all over the place. So just, you know.
That's right. This is all about play, man. And I love it. So, okay, let me see. Is there anything else? Oh, I may or may not go live tomorrow. So if I don't show up, don't hold it against me. I'm going to be trying to see about looking at that van. So I might go live later on in the afternoon if I can, you know, go and take a tour of the van and share it with you guys later on in the afternoon. So don't look for me in the morning. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Don't look for me in the morning.
She'll be in a van. You can find her there.
Yeah.
I'll be in a van, not down by the river yet, but I'll be in a van.
Yep. We're going to be inspirational speakers.
Right.
Living in a van down by the river.
That's right. Madam Maskey, it's time to say goodnight.
Mwah. Good night.
Much love.
See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.